What if I told you that what helped my anxiety, OCD, depression, and addiction the most was actually a movie? Not therapy, not meds, but this movie.
I'm a sports agent. You could say I'm at the top of my game, but something just isn't right.
Jerry Maguire!
It made me want to be better, to fight, to find meaning. And weirdly, that's when my disorders started to get better. Jeffrey A. Kotler, in his book On Being a Therapist, once said that you can never be fully mentally healthy unless you are a good person. And Carl Gustav Jung, the famous psychologist, he believed that mental health disorders are often tied to some moral conflict. Now, modern day psychology doesn't approve that because we don't have any studies confirming this, but I still believe, after working with hundreds of people in therapy, that this is the case. And movies teach you just that, how to become morally good. And guess what? In all movies, this is exactly the case. The main character is slapped hard, and they gotta learn some lessons, and they gotta grow as a human being. So what if you're not broken? What if you're not stuck in a loop of your mental health disorder? But what if your mental health disorder is actually your origin story? What if your OCD is your Voldemort, your social anxiety your Darth Vader? And what if your addiction is your Sauron? I know this may sound ridiculous to you. I fully get it. But let me tell you about my fastest recovering client ever. I like to call him Viking. He came in with severe social anxiety. I've never seen a worse case. He couldn't order food, he couldn't make an eye contact. It was bad. But something about him was different, apart from the fact that he literally looked like the modern day Viking. Every time life tested him, every time he had a trigger, things that most of my clients would take as a setback on their journey to recover from their mental health disorder, Viking just took these triggers and used them to get even stronger. And once he recovered in like 7-8 sessions, making incredible progress that I've never seen before ever, I asked him, how did you do it? And he just said, I made an oath with a king. Now, he never told me who this king was because frankly, I worked on a clinic and there was a colleague knocking on the door because we were overtime and this was our last session and I've never seen him again. I just, he gave me an update through iMessage that he's doing okay after some time, but I think what he meant by the king when he said that, he meant the spirit of something bigger, a mission, a myth, an adventure, if you will. He literally took his anxiety as a battlefield where he could become the strongest version of himself, where he can grow as a man. And I know this because he loved the TV show The Vikings, and he made his whole visual look like he is the Viking. And when I spoke with him about social anxiety, you know what he once told me? He said, that's the good fight. That's the good fight. He told me I never had a good fight, Pavel. Now I do. And that's when I realized it. People who want to live a comfortable life recover slowest. And people who want to find and live a meaningful life, just like these characters in the movies that we love so much, that need to be slapped in the face to learn some lessons, they recover the fastest from mental health disorders. And that's what the movie Jerry Maguire told me, because when I was at my lowest with my mental health disorders, I watched the movie and I literally saw this guy who was a very shallow man, just focused on success and on himself, extremely selfish. But then, life slapped him hard. He loses everything and is forced to confront who he is. Just like Harry Potter facing Voldemort, just like Frodo carrying the ring, just like Luke facing Darth Vader. These characters, they never want to run back to their comfortable life. They never want to be recovered fast. They lean into the pain because they know that this is the only way in which they can become everything they are meant to be. And so I started to see my disorders just like that. It wasn't a thing to get rid of anymore. impressed by Viking and inspired by Jerry Maguire, I realized that I want the disorders that I have to be the thing to forge me and to forge who I am as a human being. And that changed everything. And this is not just something abstract. This is not just something where you can be like, oh, this is a nice sounding video, but it has no practical use. No, this is the single biggest thing that ever helped me with my disorders. And trust me, I was a really bad case, a really bad one. So this is all it is to me. It's finding meaning in the struggle. It's changing your mental health disorders in your mind from a curse, that's the word, to a quest. Because that's what Viking did. That's what Harry Potter did. That's what Jerry Maguire did. That's what Luke did. And, you know, Viking, he didn't just say, and he could have done that, but he didn't just say, I want my comfortable life back. I don't want anxiety. No, he said, this is my fight, and it's gonna make me the man that I'm supposed to be. And you, with your BPD, OCD, depression, whatever it may be, you have your own story, your own movie. And trust me, I'm a psychologist. I know the best, baby. No one grows without pain. No one. And just like in Harry Potter, no one says, oh, Harry, you now found out that the worst wizard in the world is going after you. Don't you want to just go back to the Dursleys, to the ordinary world that doesn't believe in magic? No one says that. Everyone's in for the ride. Everyone is enjoying the adventure and they're rooting for Harry and they want to see who he becomes. Not despite that evil that he's facing, but because of it. So just like Jerry Maguire in the movie, for example, you know, life slaps him and he goes from this selfish guy to someone who cares about others, who is a good person, who finds some inner warrior in him not to quit and just to proceed even in face of all that adversity, and that shapes his character. And he learns to find meaning in suffering. He realizes that whatever struggle you go through, it can, in the rear mirror, in the rear view, it can develop into something amazing for your life, into something great. And this is not just a mindset, guys. This is not just a blah, 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 blah. Like, this is very practical. Because what you have in your brain is called reticular activation system. And it's a system in your brain that quite essentially finds proofs for whatever you feed it with. So if you're feeding it with, oh, I'm such a victim, everyone else is normal, they're enjoying their life while I have my mental health disorder, good luck with recovery. It's going to be super slow and your brain is going to find proofs for why that is the case. You got to change your reticular activation system slowly, and how you do that? By changing the story that you tell yourself. And this is not just another tip for your OCD or depression or whatever. This is the most important thing that you can ever do for your mental health disorder. Find a meaning in it. Guess what I discovered? Not just with Viking, but with so many others. It was that, for example, clients who were psychologists or studying to be a psychologist, guess who recovered the fastest? Them, because they saw so much meaning in their disorder. They knew they're going to teach this to people and help others and with whatever they will come through. So you got to change your reticular activation system by changing the story that you tell yourself. And this is what happened in the Jerry Maguire movie. He basically went from a super selfish guy into someone who completely changed his character and had an incredible transformation, not despite of his adversity, but thanks to it. But sometimes when it comes to mental health disorders, we just want to go back to comfort. We just want to go and be like, oh, let me medicate it somehow super quick. Let me not feel this. But when we go to movies, why do people go to movies? Just to see the adversity and how the character deals with that adversity and grows in the process. They always change. They're never the same person that they used to be in the beginning of the movie. And the same is there for you with mental health disorders if you change your mindset. If you change your mindset like that continually and your brain gets on board with it, you will start seeing opportunities in every trigger to grow stronger. Every setback, what would be a setback for you normally or for everyone else with that disorder, will be something that will be a new way for you to grow even stronger than your disorder, a new way for you to become a stronger human being. And I live for this, guys, because I live it myself. I'm a living proof. Viking is a living proof. And I hope this message finds you. If this message hit you, please click on the subscribe button. My name is Pavel. I'm a psychologist, and I don't help you to just beat your mental health disorder. I help you to grow from that. I help you to find meaning in it and to turn it into the most powerful transformation of your entire life. So subscribe to this channel if you want your mental health journey to truly feel like a journey and not just like a drag that you want to get rid of. And like this video if you resonated with the message, and leave me a comment down below. What's your villain? I'm curious. Have a good one, guys, and stay safe. Peace.